Then there's still a third category. There are categories of buildings, not school buildings, but that are rented by various people in the community. One of those non-student school buildings was under a permit to the community group. They decided to, in an unauthorized way, do construction. Not appropriate, and we closed it down in the early stages of construction. But one of the things we bring into executive session is in the work they did, we are now exploring if there is any potential danger from asbestos to anything that might be. So in executive session, we'll have that discussion. Know that it's not a building that any children are in. No children are in or even near them. Sure.
Any safety items will be discussed in public.
The safety items discussed in public, the contractual piece of how you go in and do any either remediation if it's needed or exploration if it is.
Potential legal issues we're talking about.
Correct.
Especially the safety items will be discussed in public.
Correct.
I think that's a good message.
That's it.
Okay.
Correct. The last piece that I have for you is the actual presentation. I think you want to close this and then go back.
So we're not going to, we'll do the executive session, I guess, after your presentation and before we have public comments. Because we have to get the executive session and we don't have any public comments. But to close the rest of this meeting, nothing to do with the executive session. We have items from the board.
We approved the amended item. And I see a name on it. Is this public? Can I mention a name?
Yes. It's public.
Karen Conrad. She's currently chairperson of the committee. No, before we voted on it, is she a chairperson? Was she too?
Yes. We're not sure if she was. She was an employee 2 years ago, so she may have made it. But she is, in fact, the additional CSE.
Was she in the committee last year?
Yes, she was. Yes, she was.
She was on the committee as a chairperson?
Let me say that we developed this list. I asked Kathy to look at the 07 list, look at the current, the yellow list, and just create a list of those who knew it. So the way this was developed would indicate that Conrad was not on that piece.
Karen Conrad
Was not on
was
the
not on the committee of special ed. Correct. Has she been?
She was.
Yes, she was.
Yes, she was.
Maybe it was an error. We'll check.
So Dr. Roy, you told me that currently we only have 2 chairpersons on the committee. You told me that currently we only have 2 chair people on the committee.
No, you only have one person chairing everything. You try and have other alternates. And this category, which when I talked to you, I was not aware of, is only for the non-public. So Andy Alston currently does all of the non-public. This
What
out of district,
what was it?
all the out of district placements are done by one person, Andy Alston. This will add Karen Conrad as a second person out of district public non.
So she was not on the 2007 list of the out of district.
I would have to have the list in front of me. I'm hearing from one end she probably wasn't. And I'm hearing from the other end, the way we wanted to develop
See,
this.
the problem is, I'm not here to explain my vote. Essentially, I am here to explain my vote. We are here to serve the children of the district. Who are the most vulnerable children in the district? Children with special ed. These are the most vulnerable children in the district. And these are the children who are getting the worst treatment from this district.
Mr. Weeder.
1 second. Before I want,
Excuse me. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Weeder is an elected member of this board, and Mr. Weeder is
Will you
entitled
please use
to
the
vote.
microphone?
Mr. Weeder is a member of this board duly elected, and he's entitled to voice his opinion. If you do not agree with his opinion, okay, this is still America. You have an opportunity, as you did before, to get up and speak before this board and tell him what you do not agree with. But he is entitled to his opinion.
before I go on, I would like to say, if you would have let me talk, you would have seen that it's not, I fully agree with you. The teachers, the PT, the OT, all the therapists, all the psychologists are doing a wonderful job. They are caring for the children. I'm not only proud of them, I feel it as a privilege to sit on the board with all of these people who are giving the time and effort to educate the children. And they do much more than they are getting paid for. And I applaud them for that. However, what I was referring to is about the administration. The administrators of the special ed department. There's been reports.
Personnel matters in executive session. That's one. Number two, that has to be discussed in executive session. Also, to get you specific information while the presentation is going on, Dr. Ostache is going to arrange to get clarification on the issue that you asked about, and we'll try and come back and discuss it this evening or at the next session. I just want to caution you that if you
I'm not talking about personnel.
well, you mentioned
I'm not going to mention any names.
but you did.
Did I mention?
Yes, you did.
I've asked if I can ask. No, because the reason why I've asked the name, because I have a feeling that this person has not been on the committee of special ed of the 2000 list.
So we're going to.
And she has been chairing lately on the committees without the approval of the board.
Okay, that is a personnel matter, number one. Number two, if
That's
you
the
want
reason why I've asked.
So
I'm not disagreeing that it's a
and
personal
number
matter or not.
It is a personal matter. And number two,
I'm not
Dr.
disagreeing.
Ostache is going to clarify the situation, but we have a larger agenda for this evening that there's a large public that's waiting to hear, and I think that we should not be doing this. I apologize. We're going to move on from the board, and unless anybody else has something urgent to add, we're going